reached about 70 of the Sahaba. And after that, imagine in old Arabia, losing in a battle in the middle of the Arab Peninsula, you became prone to any raids. You became an easy target. Once you lose, you became like an open invitation for people to come and snatch you. And this is very important to know because there is no rules except power at that time. There is no power in this Arab Peninsula except for the major tribes. And the Muslims at this time were weak. They start building their own state. And to have been defeated in Ghazwat Uhud, losing a lot of people from the Muhajirin, from companions, it was a major threat for them, for their existence. And even one of the smaller tribes were bold enough to start plotting against the Muslims. And one of them is Banu al-Mustaliq, or al-Muraysi'. And this is a place between Mecca and Medina and a crossroad in the trade routes. And they have allies with the Meccans and who have one of the biggest idols in their place, Manah, one of the biggest idols. So we have Manat, Wallat, Wal-Uzza. This is the great idols. And Hubal was in around the Kaaba. But Manat was in Muraysi'. And what's the Lat al-Uzza? Where was it? Remember? Huh? Ta'if. Jazakallah khair. Correct. Yeah, you have to be awake with me. I'm not like Dr. Ahmad. I'm going to keep throwing at you. So be ready. So one of the biggest idols was Manat. So they have great interest in attacking. So they start plotting and feeling bold enough to attack the Muslims after Ghazwat Uhud. They're saying, oh, the Muslims now are being battered. They're easy to take on. So that's what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam started hearing the news. And I just want to remind you the story of the Hijrah of Rasulullah alayhi wasallam. One of the people Rasulullah sallallahu met during the Hijrah was Buraidah ibn Husayn. And he was just a normal Bedouin in the middle of the desert, herding his sheep. But Rasulullah sallallahu even in this great danger, being a fugitive, running away from the Meccans, he started giving da'wah to Buraidah ibn Husayn at the Hijrah. And saying, bring what you have. So he started talking to him about Islam. And sure enough, Buraidah ibn Husayn embraced Islam during the Hijrah. And he's a Bedouin in the middle of the desert. He's in the trade routes. And nomads, the Bedouins, they are traveling all over the place. They go after what? Grazing for their sheep. And whenever there is pasture or there is any plants, they will walk around. So knowing them was very important. So Rasulullah ﷺ asked him to go to Banu al-Mustaliq, offer them to be a mercenary in the attacking the Muslims. Because the Rasulullah ﷺ didn't just go blindly because they heard the news and want to go attack them. He want to be sure, tabayyun wa tathabbut, meaning to confirm his doubts or confirm the news he heard. He will not just go by some news and he will go by. So he asked Buraidah ibn Husayn to go and be between them. And sure enough, Buraidah ibn Husayn offered his services. By the way, during the Hijrah, Buraidah ibn Husayn brought like 40 of his family to embrace Islam during the Hijrah. Isn't that amazing? Buraidah ibn Husayn, this Bedouin man, bring all his family, 40 people, in the middle of the desert to embrace Islam. At that time, Buraidah ibn Husayn offered his services and he was one of them. And who's the chieftain of Banu Mustaliq? His name is Al-Harith ibn Dirar. Yeah, these names seems foreign to you, but when you come to the Seerah, one of the narrators of Hadith is Amr ibn Dirar. The sounds, the names, maybe you don't catch it, but when you hear the Hadith, Amr ibn Dirar, Rawa, he's making narration of Hadith. So Rasulullah ﷺ confirmed his doubts, confirmed that Banu Mustaliq is preparing for a major attack, And actually, Harith ibn Rad told Burayd ibn Hussein, the attack will happen in this time, be prepared, we'll come to you, we'll pick you up, you will come to our routes, meet us in this place, we will go attack the Muslims in Medina. So Burayd ibn Hussein confirmed that the news to the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam make the preemptive raid against Bani Mustaliq. He raided Al-Muraysi'. This is a major water source between Mecca and Medina, cutting all their trades stopped by to take water supply. So he raided them, and he spent no time raining arrows on archery over their place. He didn't kill many, but because he rained them, showered them with archery to just get them, sieged in their place, and they will not attack the Muslims, the whole thing didn't take more than 1 hour. The casualties were very few, less than 10. One of the Muslims only died because of one of the archery hit him. And in no time, they were able to raid the whole place. And something to think about in the old times. People were asking me about how come this is coming back to the presentism issue that we have. We are measuring the laws of wars now with the Geneva Convention. At this time, there is no Geneva Convention. If you have one group of people attacking other people, they have no option but to take them as captives. Because if they leave them, they will know short enough, they will counterattack them. So the only way to prevent people from attacking again and again and end the hostility is to take them as captives. And take them, so that's the code of war at these times. And this is what happened. The captives came, and Harith ibn Rar, many of them ran away. Harith ibn Rar, the chief of the tribe, and one of them was Sayyidah Juwayriyah bint al-Harith. Juwayriyah bint al-Harith came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was one in the chair of one of the Sahaba, Thabit ibn Shammas, and he's the one that is in custody. She made a mukataba. This is a protocol from anybody as for the captives. They will offer to be ransomed, to be left free. So in the hadith, I just want to quote the hadith that Sayyidah Aisha mentioned, that Sayyidah Juwayriyah bint al-Harith went to the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. لما قسم الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم سبايا من المصطلق وقعت جويرية الحارث في السهم لثابت بن قيس بن شماس أو for a cousin to him. She made ransom for herself. وكانت امرأة حلوة ملاحة. She was beautiful. She was known that she is beautiful. لا يراها أحد إلا أخذت بنفسه. فأتت رسول الله تستعينه في كتابتها. She came to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم asking for his help to ransom her. Because the Thabit ibn Shammas asked for 7 ounces of silver so he can set her free. And she came to the Prophet ﷺ asking for his help. إلا إني رأيتها على باب حجرتي. Sayyidah Aisha, being smart, looking at her, فكرهتها. Right away, she is honest. I hated her. From the first time I looked at her, I hated her. You know the competitive nature of Sayyidah Aisha. وعرفت أنها سيرى منها صلى الله عليه وسلم مريض. That I will know that he will see how she was beautiful. فدخلت عليه فقالت يا رسول الله أنا جويرية بن الحارث. I'm جويرية بنت الحارث بن أبي ضرار. سيد قومه, the master of his people. وقد أصابني, and a lot of calamity and trial befall me. ما لم يخفى عليك. فوقعت في السهم, so I'm the chair of ثابت بن قيس, and I asked for his ransom, so I came to ask you to help me ransom myself. فهل لك من خير في ذلك؟ قالت وما هو يا رسول الله. Rasulullah sallam told her, do you have a better thing to do than this, than the ransom? She said, what's Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He said, أقضي عنك كتابتك وتزوجك. I will ransom you and I will marry you. فقالت نعم يا رسول الله. قال لقد فعلت. He did. So he ransomed Sayyidah Juwayriyah. And this is again the two examples we're having today, Sayyidah Juwayriyah and Sayyidah Safiyyah. Both are daughters of great chieftains of staunch enemies against Muslims. And this is the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam strategy to turn his enemies to his best allies. And the marriage, as always, even the Arabs at this time, they were looking forward always. They always looking for the rank. With against the example of Zainab bint Jahsh. If you remember, Zainab bint Jahsh was what? A noble person. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tried to break this ranking and class system by marrying her to his Mawla, Zayd ibn Haritha, right? It's against the norms and didn't work. But Rasulullah sallallahu was trying to break the norms, trying to get over the tribalism, the class, the nobility. It's about the honor in the faith. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in these two occasions were able to turn one of the staunchest enemies of Islam to his favor. The news get out to the people. Rasulullah sallam is gonna marry Sayyidah Juwayriyah bint al-Harith ibn Abi Dirar. The people, Ashar, is saying Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, these are the people who are gonna be the in-laws for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How come we can keep them as captives? How come we will have the in-laws of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So they freed everybody from Bani al-Mustaliq. And since then, فقد أعتق بتزويجه إياها 100 أهل بيت من بني المصطلق. A lot of over 100 families were ransomed, will be set free because of this marriage. فما أعلم امرأة, Sayyidah Aisha is saying, I don't know any woman who has a greatest favor over her clan or her tribe more than Juwayriyah bint al-Harith. لما أعلم امرأة كانت أعظم على قومها بركة منها. She was the greatest blessing for her clan and her tribe. So this is in a nutshell Sayyidah Juwayriyah bint al-Harith. But you see how things turned around with Sayyidah Juwayriyah. Sayyidah Juwayriyah, after her marriage, even with the adversity that she had, she showed, even when with the changes of status, that her character stays the same. And faith remained her true wealth. The power of her single person, that her sincerity was able to overcome her trial, that she was from captivity to become the mother of the believers. One important thing was mentioned about Sayyidah Juwayriyah, one of the greatest, every mother of the believers you will find have her niche or her excellent side. Sayyidah Juwayriyah, her excellent side. Sayyidah Zainab bint Jahsh, what was her excellent side? What is her cutting edge? Huh? al-Masakin, exactly. And her worship. You remember the robe in the masjid? هذا حبل Zainab. This is a robe of Zainab, because she will lean on the robe while making i'tikaf. This is called the robe of Zainab. They were calling, because she was getting tired and she will lean, we're staying overnight praying. This is called Hablu Zainab. And Rasulullah ﷺ said, no, whoever making i'tikaf, he just make qiyam the best he can. So they were known with her worshipping. Sayyidah Juwayriyah was known of her remembrance of Allah, dhikr. And the best dhikr that we have, all the blessing, imagine that it goes to her virtue and her scale of the good deeds in the Day of Judgment. The whole ummah is reminding us, لقد قلت بعدك 4 كلمات 3 مرات لو وزنت بما قلت منذ اليوم لورثتهن. I will teach you, Rasulullah ﷺ taught her this dhikr. Say 4 words is better than staying all night long. And what's this 4 words? Subhanallah wa bihamdih, عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. These are the Azkar al-Sabah that we mention every day. This is the hadith of Sayyidah Juwayriyah. She was known, Rasulullah ﷺ will leave his house for Salat al-Fajr and come back, and she will be in her masjid. This is in the hadith, masjid, her place of worshiping inside her house. She will stay for hours remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Azkar al-Sabah is associated always when you make أذكار الصباح, remember Sayyida Juwairiyah bint al-Harith. This is the great blessing she provided the Ummah with. سبحان الله بحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه ومدد كلماته, meaning all praise due to Allah, glory and praise due to Allah, as much as the number of His creation, as much as He pleases Him, as much as the weight of His throne, and as much as the ink of His words. That's the meaning of it. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات. We're gonna move swiftly now, which is gonna catch up with the next story of Sayyidah Safiya bint Huyay ibn Akhtab. You wanna take a break? Anybody wanna stretch or to do push-ups or anything? No? Okay. So Sayyidah Safiya bint Huyay ibn Akhtab, another example, one of the greatest mothers of the believers. And I'm going to show you a video of the houses of the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. How it looks like, inshallah, remind me. And how close they are to each other and how simple the houses of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, of the wives of the mothers of the believers. So Sayyidah Safiya bint Huyay ibn Akhtab, what's her father? One of the greatest enemies of Islam, right from the beginning. Huyay ibn Akhtab. Who remember Huyay ibn Akhtab? He's what? He's a leader of? Correct, mashallah. You deserve to sit here. No, the wall is much better, huh? So, he was the leader of Banu Nadir. Not just that, he is the biggest instigator of problems against the Muslims. He's non-stop. So from the first few years of the Hijrah, Banu Nadir was close to Medina. They plotted against the assassination of the Prophet ﷺ and were trying to assassinate the Prophet. And the Prophet ﷺ moved them, exiled them outside of Medina, and they moved to where? Who was us with the Seerah? Khaybar. So they got exiled to Khaybar. All the Banu Nadir moved to Khaybar. And after that, did it stop? No. They keep plotting against Islam and Muslims. And if you remember correctly about Ghazwat al-Khandaq, in year what? In year 5. So in year 5, the Muslims have the Battle of the Trenches. Who instigated the Battle of the Trenches? Huyay ibn Akhtab. He is the one who went to Mecca trying to get the Meccans to be allied with Bani Ghatafan and attack the Muslim and finish them once and for all. That was all the plan and instigating by Huyay ibn Akhtab. Not just that, he continued on. In the Quran it is mentioned many ayat about him, that he will be asked, is the religion of the Muslims better or the religion of the idols? And he will boldly say, no, your deen is better than Deen Muhammad. Your faith of idol worshipping is better than the deen of Muhammad, the Tawheed. Imagine the boldness. Okay? So Huyay ibn Akhtab didn't even stop that. After allying Bani Ghatafan and the people of Mecca and all of them marched to Medina, he didn't stop. No, he was the one who went to Medina and infiltrated Medina, trying to convince Banu Qurayza to ally with the Mushrikeen. You see the persistence? Subhanallah, he is driven. He is driven. And he tried to go Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf, the leader of Banu Qurayza, trying to convince him to leave the treaty or to break the treaty with the Muslims and betray the Muslims from their back and allow them. And this is the details when we talked about how Allah foiled all their plans. But his role was very essential. He was driven, trying to exterminate the Muslims and Islam. And he was determined. Sayyidah Safiya will mention a conversation between him and her uncle, Abu Yasir, his brother. In the first beginning days when Huyay ibn Akhtab saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she said in the hadith, I went to them, as a young girl, I was there trying to, get their hugs or whatever. They overlooked me, and he just started conversing, and he's saying, Huwa, isn't he? He's the prophet that they were calling for in our books. He say, Huwa, he is. And that reminds us, brothers, that knowing is not believing. You could know the truth. You could know that this is Islam, but you don't believe in it, doesn't help. Many people came across this seerah. You will find people recognizing that this is the truth, religion. This is the truth. This is the haqq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But still they're opposing it, not believing in it. Even the uncle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he protected him, believing that he's a prophet. But he cannot embrace Islam. Because of what? For many reasons. Like the shaitan. Oh, he will be shamed by the other Arabs. How come I became a Muslim after all of this legacy that I have from my grandparents? So knowing is not believing. Knowing, you could know, but you don't believe. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be from the believers and the faithful, inshallah.
This is also true that the people who are the biggest enemies, they know the truth, even in today's age.
Yes.
That is also a fact.
استكبارا وعلوا في الأرض. This is the Quran is saying استكبارا وعلوا في الأرض. As pride, like the same like shaitan. وعلوا, the pride, being elevated, feeling like you are higher than others. I cannot go below that. I cannot be a follower like Abu Jahl. He's saying, اتبعه الغلمان. Young people are following him. How can we be equal with them? استكبارا وعلوا. Subhanallah. So he recognized him, and his brother asked him, وما تفعل? What are you gonna do about that? عداوته ما حييت. His animosity, his enmity till I die. Even when he was being before his death, he's saying, I'm not regretting being an enemy to Muhammad. Allah sealed his heart. Subhanallah. The animosity, the grudge, he cannot get it out. Subhanallah. إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء. So this is the stance of Huyay ibn Akhtab. And this is the Prophet ﷺ, after the foiling all the plans of the Battle of the Trenches, they know that the source of all calamities, the source of all problems is from Khaybar. And Khaybar is a very rich place in the Arab Peninsula. And it's in the crossroad with the Sham and Iraq at this time. And all the tribes from Bani Ghatafan, from all the tribes of Arabia, this is their place to stop by. This is the major station. All the trade routes lead to Khaybar. After this, the Battle of Khaybar, Safiya bint Huyay ibn Akhtab was one of the captives. And her father, Huyay ibn Akhtab, was killed. And her husband, Kinana ibn Huqayqiq, his name is very hard. Kinana ibn Huqayqiq. He's a famous poet and he's the chief of the Khaybar. And Sayyidah Safiya is mentioning this after going back with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the road. After she got back, she mentioned he saw some kind of bruises in her face. And he asked her about this bruise. What's going on? And she replied that I saw a ru'ya in my sleep that the moon is shedding light over Khaybar. So her husband told her, do you want to marry the king of Arabs, the king of Medina? And he slapped her hard. He was an abusive husband for her. But even that, after this, incident, and after taking him, I was just always baffled by the way Rasulullah sallam dealt, especially with Sayyidah Safiya. And because Sayyidah Safiya's story is very important to converts, because she went through a lot as a convert and dealt a lot with mistrust from the Muslim community in general. And since day one, she was suffering from that. About the mistrust, Bint al-Yahudiyya, Bint al-Yahudi, the daughter of the Jewish. As many of them, wal'ayadu billah, from some of the Muslims, they go after religion and trying to project their hate or project their, the grievances that's happening against specific people or a specific against religion. You shouldn't take لا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى. We shouldn't take the guilt of one against the others. Everybody's accountable to his own deed. So Sayyidah Safiya, in her story, she mentioned that she got back, and Sayyidina Bilal, when she brought the ladies and the people from Khaybar, he walked between the dead bodies or next to the battleground. And Rasulullah sallam scorned him for doing that, saying, how dare you, bringing them through, make them see their fatalities, their victims, their fathers, their mother. You shouldn't stop by this place. You should take a different route. So he scorned Sayyidina Bilal, and that was the theme. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, she, Sayyidah Safiya, she will mention how Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam married her. And I want to see, I want to bring the hadith that mention exactly. So she was married twice before marrying the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. وإن اخترت فعسى أن تلحقي بقومك. Okay. وأخذت هي من الأسرى فاصطفاها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم نفسه وخيرها بين الإسلام والبقاء على دينها. He gave her the choice as to be. So one of the Sahaba is one of the share, and you want to give her to a different Sahabi, Dihya al-Kalbi, if I remember correctly. Dihya al-Kalbi was the one who is in his share. But the Arabs at this time saying, this is not suitable to bring the daughter of a big chief of the Jewish tribes and give them to any people other than the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is like about ranking. If you give a daughter of somebody to somebody is lower than the Rasulullah, the head of the Medina, that's considered not courteous in the Arab tradition at this time. So Rasulullah sallam gave her the choice between being Muslim or to free her. And Sayyidah Safiya explained that she wanted to be a Muslim at this time. She explained that she was looking for Islam even before then. خير الإسلام والبقاء على دينها قائلا اختاري, choose. فإن اخترت الإسلام أمسكتك لنفسي هي تزوجتك وإن اخترت اليهودية فعسى أن أعتقك فتلحقي بقومك. If you choose to be a Muslim, I can marry you and you stay with me. If you choose to be as Jewish as you are, I will free you so you can go follow your people. فقالت يا رسول الله لقد هويت الإسلام وصدقت بك قبل أن تدعوني. O Rasulullah, لقد هويت الإسلام. I loved Islam and I believed in you before you invite me to Islam. حيث صرت إلى رحلك وما لي في اليهودية أرب. I went to your way and I have no intention to stay as a Jewish. وما لي فيها والد ولا أخ. And I have a brother or a father in my people. وخيرتني الكفر والإسلام فالله ورسوله أحب إلي من العتق وأن أرجع إلى قومي. Allah and His messengers are more beloved to me than being free and going back to my people. This is in the hadith. ثم أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أعتقها وتزوجها وجعل عتقها صداقها. He made his freeing her as her dowry. And she was married to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم in her way back. And amazing, again, coming back to the way of Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم dealing with her and how courteous Rasulullah, how the manners, how gentle using her. They were mentioning in the Seerah how Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم trying to make her ride the camel. She always have issue with camels. If you read his seerah, she always have issues with camels. So she is not used to riding camels. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam bent his knee and he gave the postures. He bent one leg and he made his thigh open for her so she can ride on the top of the camel. She didn't know what to do. She was embarrassed in front of everybody. This is the thing. The marriage of Sayyidah Safiya was witnessed by everybody during Ghazwat Khaybar, because everybody is witnessing the marriage. So they saw that the Rasulullah ﷺ giving her her thigh so she can ride on the camel. She got embarrassed. She doesn't know what to do. This is the thigh of the Prophet. How can I step with my leg on top of it in front of everybody? So he pulled his leg, her foot, and put it in his thigh so she can ride on the camel. Subhanallah. If you want to teach people about gentleness, about dealing with women, subhanallah. يعني, and this is the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم. Another narration about that we should learn. Sayyidah Safiya was, as I said, she was dealing with a lot of mistrust from the Muslim community. And one of the occasions, Sayyidah Hafsa bint Umar, she came, and you know how it happened, the competitiveness between ladies. And the first woman to ask to see her was Sayyidah Aisha, of course. She want to see her, the first one. And Sayyidah Hafsa mentioned that we are the cousins of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are from Arab descent. You know, again, coming back. And this is the beauty of learning about the seerah, about the Zawjatul Rasul. You know, we're not sanitizing the seerah, that showing that these are saints. They are humans. Yes, they are dealing with emotions. They are dealing with some jealousy. We're not sanitizing the seerah. The seerah is showing the human side that we should take and learn how we are dealing with our struggles. Even this trivial encounter between ladies, it's mentioned in the seerah. He's saying, نحن أبناء عمومة. We are cousins to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. أنت بنت اليهودي. You are the son of a Jewish. And Sayyidah Safiya, she cried hard. And Rasulullah sallallahu came to her and asked her, why you are crying? And he mentioned to her, if they come and tell you again, tell them, I'm the wife of a prophet, a descendant. My grandfather is a prophet, and my uncle is a prophet. He meant whom? Sayyidina Musa and Sayyidina Harun. So this is how Rasulullah ﷺ consoling her, tell them that my grandfather is Sayyidina Musa and my uncle is Sayyidina Harun and my husband is Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Trying to console her. One of the other occasions, something we learn about fiqh, that Sayyidah Safiya, she went to Hajj with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she missed Tawaf al-Wada', and because she was in her menses, and this is the ruling that we got: the women in her menses, if she missed Tawaf al-Wada', she is exempt. Opposite of Tawaf al-Qudum. Sayyidah Aisha missed Tawaf al-Qudum, and this is the beauty of Rasulullah sallallahu having multiple wives, that we learn about Ahkam al-Fiqh lin-Nisa athna al-Hajj. Subhanallah. So Tawaf al-Qudum, Tawaf al-Ifada, Sayyidah Aisha missed. Tawaf al-Wada', Sayyidah Safiya missed, but she was exempt. And this is how we take our rulings from till today about ladies fiqh al-Nisa in Hajj. The death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the death of the deathbed, and even before that, a famous incident. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he will walk her to her house. Look at the gentleness of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he will take her personally and take her to her house after the salah. And in one of the incidents, two people met the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the road, and they saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so they start walking quickly to disappear. Rasulullah ﷺ saying, "Ala rislikuma," slow down, slow down. إنما هي صفية وأنا محمد. This is my wife صفية. قال معاذ الله يا رسول الله أو نظن فيك. عليك السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Don't we think about you? How can we? إن الشيطان يجري من ابن آدم مجرى الدم. The shaitan is walking in, growing, flowing in your veins, like in your vein, your blood in your veins. So, and we learn from this how to taqa al-shubhat, to avoid the people, the situations of gray area, to always seek clear vision and try to avoid the areas of gray areas that may be misconstrued or misunderstood. And this is in general. So this is one of the guidance. In the deathbed of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Sayyidah Safiya again dealing with the mistrust, and one of the incident, she mentioned, "I wish what you have, Rasulullah, that I have what you have, Ya Rasulullah, and you will be free from any pain." And you know how ladies around her looked at her, rolling her eyes. Ghamazna, they winked. Come on, it's like Rasulullah sallam wake up from his pain. He's saying, "Aynaya la tanam," my eyes doesn't sleep. He's saying, "Wallahi innaha la sadiqa," I swear by Allah that she is truthful. And this is the shahada of Sayyidah Safiya. So it is always comes back and forth. There's always this mistrust and the struggle, Sayyidah Safiya, that she dealt with. Sayyidah Safiya, she stayed after Rasulullah sallam, she died in the year 50 of Hijrah, so she stayed till the time of Sayyidina Umar. One of her Jariya, one of her servants, girls, she tried to make a wishaya, or to tell a lie about her to one of the Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Khattab. So she mentioned that she is observing the Sabbath, and she's still visiting her family. So Sayyidina Umar went to her and asked, he sent some messenger to ask her to just verify the situation. And she replied to the messenger and said, "For the Sabbath, Allahu abdalani minhu yawm al-jum'ah." Allah substituted from the Sabbath yawm al-jum'ah. I never observed the Sabbath. This is not true. And for my family of the Jewish tribe, yes, I keep visit them. They are my extended family. There is no harm of visiting them. So she was truthful, and she was still continuing her relationship. And even after her death, she made a portion of her wealth to be, and she is one of the richest wives of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She had over 10,000 dirham. She offered 1/3 of her inheritance to her nephew from her sister. And he was still a Jewish, because this is sadaq, this is a part that is not, given away. You can have sadaqah or a charity of 1/3 of the tarikah. And people were talking and saying, this is the people of my relatives. And this is what other converts are dealing with. You cannot detach somebody from his family, even though he is away from his faith, but still he has to be kind to them. And this may be a way of acquiring to Islam. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us good followers of the mothers of the believers. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us good followers of Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to benefit us from this seerah and from great companions and the great companions of Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Any questions, any remarks? I know you're all sleepy now. جزاكم الله كل خير. بارك الله فيكم. نفعنا الله وإياكم بما في القرآن العظيم وما فيه من الآيات والذكر الحكيم. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت، وعافنا فيمن عافيت، وتولنا فيمن توليت. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا، وعلمنا ما ينفعنا، وزدنا علما يا رب العالمين. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم الله خير.